The very last thing I wanted to show you is just to show you a little bit about what those simple pages look like. You remember when I said that Omeka was a big website with a bunch of baby websites or little websites that are in there? So if you go to simple pages, you'll actually see the list of all the pages that were created in here. And so you'll see here that there's a list like this, or, and I find this more useful, you can see the hierarchy. These also match what's in the navigation, but they have to be done separately. So if you create a simple page, it doesn't always translate over to the menu. Sometimes those have to be mapped separately. So for example, if you want to see what one of the yearbooks look like, or the scrapbooks, we can look at a scrapbook. If you pull up the page, then you'll see the public page, which gives us that beautiful Internet Archive viewer that's so nice. And then to actually see what that looks like, so if you pull up this is very much, it looks a little bit like a blog post, but you see we have an order ranking, so that affects where it resides in terms of the queue. We can have things that are private and public. There's not as much options as what you have with regular blogging software and things like that, but if you look, then you'll see that there's the button for HTML, and the reason why you're not seeing anything here is because this is all coding. So it's all coding that has been put in here. You'll also see that this says this field supports shortcodes. Shortcodes are little special snippets of codes that are designed to do something in Omeka, and that is how our slideshows work. And I'm not really going to go into that, but I just wanted to kind of show you, sort of what it does. So if you're familiar with HTML at all, this is using just very simple iframes and then using coding from the Internet Archive, and then there's software installed on the backside to make it work. So that's sort of how those things work. So when you see a page in Omeka from the administrative interface and you see that it has this big sort of blank space, and it may not be beige, it may be another color in your browser, but when you see a big beige or blank space here, that means that there is some sort of coding behind it, and it's actually using that HTML. And that's really the only way it's going to display, because it's code and it can't display there. So that's just sort of a little bit sort of about how that software works. So let's see, we'll look at one more. We'll look at one that has the slideshow in it, so you can see what that looks like. Let's see, here's one with the slideshow. So, as you can see here in the slideshow, now this one's a little tiny bit different, because you remember I was talking about the short codes, and the short codes are actually, it's like a secret language or password to tell the system to pull information. So you see here, there's this little bit of code here, and it says carousel sort random item tags. Remember when I said that tags were critical to making some of the functionality in Omeka work? And then of course we have information down here below. So what this actually does, it tells Omeka, because the software is installed on the backside of it, because what I installed is supported by this, and it uses those short codes here. So what this actually says, and if you've used some older programming languages, or when I was a student worker, we worked with WordStar a lot, and it would use something similar. So this actually is telling Omeka, okay, call out to the carousel software, and then the carousel software is going to call out to jQuery, which is a JavaScript form of programming language, and then you're going to pull images from those particular collections of the MySQL database. So it's a kind of complex process, even though it looks very simple. And of course, then what we see when we look at this is kind of magic, is we see this. So that's in a nutshell, without going into any of the programming language, that's the secret magic to how that works. And on that note, I'm just going to close this one out for today.